Pirates opened up their spring training schedule today against the Tampa Bay Rays. We have Lance Lysowski on the line from DK Pittsburgh Sports to talk about that big game. Lance, how you doing?
Doing well, Dale. Happy afternoon. I did not expect to come on and hear you talking about college hockey, but hey,
we do it all, We do it all. I've been talking hockey pretty much the whole first hour with the Penguins making some moves there today, but also the Pirates have been making moves this week.
Yeah, they have. They signed one outfielder, traded for two others. The one they did sign's already gone, Michael Saunders. They released him. He's already signed with the Royals, but Corey Dickerson's the one that matters. He's going to be the starting left fielder, all-star for the Rays last year, 27 home runs. Was bad in the second half of last season. But, I mean, they got him. They only traded Daniel Hudson, a minor league shortstop who was a 13th-round pick last year, and $1 million for a guy who brings power to left field. I'm not sure how he'll play defensively at PNC Park, but if you're going to go for a bounce-back candidate, I think that someone like Dickerson is a better fit rather than rolling the dice on Bryce Brent, who they acquired from the Red Sox earlier this week, or Michael Saunders, who they already cut.
Yeah, I mean, this seems to be a move, and you kind of put this out there earlier in the week that this was a guy that they should probably go after if they were going to make the moves that they were going to make and try to get a real left fielder.
Yeah, with the way the market was, really at this point, it's hard to in spring training. There weren't many teams still looking for an outfielder. The Rays are desperate. They want to just sell off all the remaining bigger contracts they have. Dickerson's not making that much money. Under $6 million for this year, arbitration eligible next offseason, then he becomes a free agent following the 2019 season. So Pirates didn't have to give up much. They dumped Daniel Hudson's contract. He might not even made the opening day roster. Sprained his ankle before spring training even began, and he only threw, I think, one bullpen session before the trade. So that's dealing from an area of depth, and now this fills a pretty big need. Now Adam Frazier can go to the bench. Sean Rodriguez is on the bench. So really, Neil Huntington said it on Thursday night. This might be the best bench the Pirates have had since Clint Hurdle became manager, but, of course, that will change if Josh Harrison also gets traded.
Well, it was interesting as well in their first game today. Austin Meadows goes out and goes 3 for 3. The Pirates only had 5 hits in the game against the Rays today in a 6-3 loss, but Meadows looked like the hot prospect that we've been hearing about.
Yeah, really injury-shortened season last year, dealt with injuries in the second half of 2016, and talked to him last month down in Bradenton, and he completely revamped his workout regimen, got a new trainer. And you hear that from guys every offseason. You never know if it's going to translate.
Yeah. I gained weight, or I lost weight, or I did
exactly.
this, or I did that. I mean, that's the norm.
Yeah, of course, people. Then you kind of say, okay, we'll wait and see. And hey, first game, they wasn't facing the best pitchers, but he did better than all the proven major leaguers on the roster. A couple of big hits, a double to right center in the second inning to give them a run. So, I mean, he's going to start the season in AAA. They're going to let him get as many at-bats as they can. And right now, they don't need Austin Meadows to be ready. That's a pretty good situation for the Pirates. And Dickerson, if that works out, even if it works out, if it doesn't work out, they can cut bait from him at the end of 2018 and have Meadows for 2019. So they have options. But, I mean, this is a guy who was so good in Double-A Altoona the first half of 2016. So I guess the Pirates are just waiting to see if he ever returns to that form.
Speaking of returning to form, do we see anything like that from the other two outfielders this year? Starling, Marte, Gregory, Polanco, both with such high expectations, and we saw flashes, more so with Marte. I think we've seen what Marte can be when he's going right. With Polanco, we've seen flashes here or there. But, a couple years ago, Marte was a very consistent hitter. And then last year with the suspension and everything else that went on, we didn't see anything close to Marte's full ability.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 80 games will have that effect. And even before the suspension, those 14 games, he knew that what was coming down. He knew he was going to be suspended. So he was even bad defensively, considering how good he is typically. So, and Marte was really good in September last season. He showed that the bat was starting to come around. He was still stealing bases before then. The defense was good. I think now being in center field without having to replace, without Andrew McCutcheon moving to right field, it's Marte's job. So I think that the Pirates like what they saw out of him in the Dominican Winter League. I think he'll be good, Dale. I don't think there's really that much to worry about. I think they know what they're going to get. But Gregory Polanco is the big question mark. It's not just the health. Is he going to ever reach his potential? Because even when he's on the field, the bat hasn't played the way you expect it to. 22 home runs in 2016, but he tried to chase more power, so he completely changed his workout regimen going into last season, focused way too much on upper body workouts to try to hit 40 home runs. Now, with all the changes he's made, it's time to see what he can do, because the Pirates, with the trades they made this offseason, they got some young outfielders in the system. Brian Reynolds, Jason Martin, guys that are not only insurance for Austin Meadows, but they're insurance for Gregory Polanco over the next couple of years to see if he doesn't pan out, even Gregory Polanco said it himself, he'll be gone.
Yeah, and Polanco's a guy that, because of the way he plays defense, which is often looks a lot like Manny Ramirez out there trying to to field balls, he has to hit. I mean, he's just a below average defender overall.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the arm strength, but he's never really shown. That's why, as much as physically he's a fit to play left field in PNC Park, he's just not good enough. It just doesn't work. I think that right field, he just feels comfortable there. Really made a difference for him last year when they shifted him back there. So we'll see. I think it'll help having an above-average defender in center field now with Starling Marte, who can kind of do really well in chasing balls down the gap in right center to help Gregory Polanco at times. It's just, where is Clint Hurdle going to hit Gregory Polanco in the order? Can he trust him to hit third? I think that a lower leverage spot later in the order could be beneficial for a guy who's trying to bounce back.
With the Dickerson trade now, Lance, how do you see their batting order kind of shaping up the first 5 or 6 batters?
It's going to be interesting because if they keep Josh Harrison, which I think they're going to for at least a bit, the market's a little dry. I think Harrison hits leadoff. As much as he's kind of free swinging, which frustrates Clint Hurdle, he gets on base. You know what? I know the hit by pitch numbers kind of, bumped that number up a little bit, especially last season. But
those count too.
He's a spark. He's a spark just the way he plays, what he can do on the bases. I think after him, you have Marte at 2. Perhaps Corey Dickerson at 3, Josh Bell at 4, Colin Moran at 5. Maybe you put Gregory Polanco at 6. Just to play around a little bit. This is something that we're going to start seeing throughout spring training. Hurdle's going to play with some lineup cards, but from what he said, the first 2 weeks of spring training, it sounds like Marte is going to be at 2 and Bell's going to be at 4. So the other pieces are going to be kind of put together around those two.
And that's not a terrible lineup. I know a lot of people are looking at this team at the start of this week saying, "Oh, they're gonna lose 110 games or 120 games." That's just not reality.
It's not. Of course, injuries can severely affect that, but that's the case with almost any club in Major League Baseball.
Unless you're the Yankees or Red Sox, and you can just go out and spend freely.
Yeah, and you're willing to go trade prospects, in the middle of the season to fill up a hole that's created by an injury. I think starting rotation is one spot that can't afford an injury. I think the bullpen has the potential to actually be really good, despite them losing Juan DeCosta in the middle of last year and not bringing back Tony Watson either. They got a couple of guys in those trades involving Garrett Cole and Andrew McCutchen, so there's depth there. And their bench is really good. It was terrible last season. I think people forgot how John Jaso and Jose Osuna were being trotted out in the outfield when neither of them had any business playing the outfield. So this is probably, I would think, one of the better overall depth situations Clint Hurdle's had in a couple of years.
So in your eyes, as they start playing spring training games right now, are they a better team, at least on paper, right now than they were last year?
I won't say that just because you're losing your top of the rotation starter with Garrett Cole. I know that he gave up 31 homers last year, but he's still Garrett Cole. Him at the top of that rotation is the difference, and it's the career high in innings, just what he's able to accomplish to help your bullpen. And you're losing Andrew McCutchen. I'm not sold yet on Corey Dickerson. It is an upgrade based on, it's an upgrade over Adam Frazier because the team needed power, but the defense, I don't know if it'll play well in left field. He was really bad in the second half last season, so we'll see.
But let's remember, Lance, they were playing 80 games with, as you just said, John Jaso and a cast of hundreds out in the outfield. The guys they were bringing guys up from the minors and putting them in the outfield.
Yeah, and that was a big problem. And the young starters weren't taking up enough innings, just taxing the bullpen. You had just a nonstop, train back and forth between AAA and Pittsburgh to get guys, to get fresh guys up there to help Clint Hurdle. It's a very good question, Dale. I'm going to say no for now, but hey, with Corey Dickerson, maybe if he hits 27 home runs, then yeah, I do think that. Because I think the starting rotation is a lot better than people are giving it credit for. I think those young guys who pitched all those innings last year for the Pirates are going to take that big step forward. And Jameson Taillon could be an ace. And if he pitches like an ace, he pitches better than Garrett Cole did last year, then hey, I mean, it's tough to argue with that.
Yeah, I think they have the potential, and it's a nasty word, potential, because it raises those expectations. But I think right now the expectations with this team are so low. We were just looking online at the tickets for the opening game. Opening game are still available.
Yeah, that's unheard of the last couple of years, even going into last season. I think a lot of the fans get caught up with what the other teams in the division do, what the Cubs went out and got when they get Yu Darvish, or the Brewers getting Christian Yelich, and that's valid. Those teams, as well as the Cardinals, who got Marcell Ozuna, they made big moves and they got better. But I think that the Pirates didn't just sit back, and I know that you hate to hear the same line about them going internally. They want their guys that they drafted and developed to get more playing time, but the guys they drafted and developed and are going to get more playing time, I think, are better than a lot of those free agents out there. And I'm talking about Trevor Williams or Chad Kuhl. I'm not going to give $10 million to Jaime Garcia to be in the rotation when you have those guys. It is playing with monopoly money a little bit when you're talking about spending money just to spend money. I think the way they approached it, yeah, there were holes they could have filled in free agency with some of the guys that were out there at a reasonable price. But I think Neil Huntington did well in the Garrett Cole trade with the return they got and getting Dickerson. The McCutchen trade, I don't agree with as much.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how those things play out, and we'll, of course, be watching a lot of those guys this year play in the minors. I mean, there's only a couple of the guys that they acquired in the Cole and McCutchen trades that are going to be major league players this year, but they will be major league players. It's going to be what some of those younger guys do, some of the other guys that they acquired in that trade, that's going to be the long-term effects of that trade. So we'll see how that works out. Lance, thank you for coming on. I know you got some business to do here over at DK Pittsburgh Sports, so we'll allow you to get back to that, but I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dale. Anytime.